welcome back to CNBC. It's good to see you today.
See you, Ma.
Really interesting earnings beat. You're coming off a big earnings beat. Gross travel bookings up 77% versus the prior quarter a year ago. What does demand look like in the last couple of weeks since the quarter ended, especially now as we look to the U.S. finally reopening borders and allowing fully vaccinated foreign travelers in starting next week?
Yeah, we are very pleased with that third quarter. And we talked a little bit about October, and it's interesting. We've seen a trend that was going nicely up, 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 everything getting much better. At the end of the month of October, we've seen around the world, particularly in places like Germany, Russia, Italy, COVID cases going up, and that's going to affect sometimes people's desire to travel. So obviously we have to be cognizant that we're not out of the woods at all. It's not going to be a linear recovery. We have to be aware that there can be ups and downs, but the overall trend, the long-term trend has been really great. And obviously allowing vaccinated people to come to the United States on November 8th and going forward, that's just really super for the U.S. travel industry.
Glenn, there were a lot of families who told me that they were going to book homes versus a hotel because their kids weren't vaccinated. But now that ages 5 to 11 can get the COVID vaccine, is that changing the types of properties travelers are booking going into the holiday season?
Well, it just happened, as we all know. So we'll see over, let's give ourselves a couple of weeks to see if there are any changes in the trends. But it's absolutely correct that people were concerned with children that were not vaccinated and wanting to keep them away from other large groups. And listen, it's also good the other way. Children do carry the virus, unfortunately, too. So it was a good thing. And I'm so thankful for this vaccination to be able to get it out to kids. I think every time we come up with some sort of new thing, whether it be the vaccinations for younger people or Merck with new drugs, anything that comes out that helps get us out of this pandemic will help the travel industry.
Meantime, Glenn, I wonder at what point do you think airfares or hotel booking rates are going to destroy some demand? Are we anywhere near the consumer revolting at some of these price increases?
I don't think we're there yet. People's desire to travel is very high. Well, we saw it, for example, when we announced in the U.S. that people could come visit if you're vaccinated from outside the U.S., people immediately started booking. And I know there are a lot of people, anecdotally, I speak with people, and they want to travel because people's ability to travel has been so repressed by this pandemic. So I don't think we're at an area where high rates for either airfares or hotels is going to say, I'm not going to travel yet, particularly because I can't spend the money on a lot of other things because of the supply bottom. A terrible problem in the supply, getting new things in. People say, well, I can't buy what I want to buy, so I'll go travel instead. So I think we're going to be okay for a while.
Yeah, Glenn, it's Morgan. Just to dig into that a little bit more, I certainly know a lot of folks that are going to come from places like Europe for the first time in 18 months this holiday season, and it is that pent-up demand. So I wonder just how robust the current quarter could be and what that'll mean in terms of normalization into next year.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. Of course, we're all trying to figure out what is the next quarter and the quarter after that, and what's summer 2022 going to look like for all of us. And I think that the right thing to say is nobody really knows. We've all made lots of guesses, and I'm pleased that when I said almost 2 years ago when this pandemic first started that it would take years, not quarters, to recover, and we're almost into the third year of this pandemic. We're a couple of months, we're going to be into our third year. So I think the thing that we can all recognize that nobody knows the real answer, what it's going to be, but we are hopeful.